It feels like every song you wanted to lose your virginity to was in that movie. I know you'll know where we were when. I know you'll know where we were
when. Hello and welcome to Where We Were When, a podcast where we talk about our most memorable movie-going experiences of our youth and eat candy. I'm your host, Heidi Gardner, and I'm joined as always by my co-host and my actual real-life brother, Justin Gardner. Hi, Justin.
That's me. Hey, how are you doing, Heidi?
I'm doing really good. I got my second shot. What about you?
I am fully vaccinated now, and I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel alive. I feel ready for 2021 for real. Let's go.
You guys, the Gardners are vaccinated.
That's right.
That's a big deal. That's going to be huge for a lot of people.
Yeah. And the way that this is happening too. So we're recording these a little bit ahead of time.
Right.
So this might seem like we're like way past the time, when we were deciding whether or not to get vaccinated. We actually got vaccinated early on. I'm not going to talk about the time period, but we didn't, we're not being incentivized by the government to get vaccinated.
Well, so, I also want to say we didn't get vaccinated that early on. We got vaccinated at the appropriate time for our age and place in this world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I have no privileges, when it comes to that. I have no idea what the reality is for you.
No, but, absolutely none. I can promise you that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was fair and square.
Glad to hear it.
But let's stop talking about us because we have a guest today. I'm really excited about them. Are you?
I'm super excited because I have been waiting to actually have a conversation with this person that isn't like tweets. I remembered her from your past. She's been doing amazing things recently. Do you want to get into what she's been doing?
Yes. I mean, she was always amazing, always prolific. In the past few years, she's written for the Santa Clarita Diet. She's written for the upcoming Marvel Disney Plus show, She-Hulk. And she just was the set writer for the forthcoming film, Shotgun Wedding. And she was also an actor in it. She acted alongside J-Lo. Okay. My very, very good friend, Melissa Hunter. Welcome, Melissa.
Hi. Hello. I'm so excited to be here. What an intro.
Well, what a career.
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like, the highlights of my career were our Fam Sam days.
Yes.
Doing I was thinking about the video we did for Beachy Waves, and I think about that video a lot because I feel like I still don't fully know how to do Beachy Waves properly.
Me neither.
And I just think like a roll of quarters. No one's going to understand these references, but
I do. I understand them. Mm-hmm. I can actually explain a little bit if Heidi doesn't want to. Do you want, Heidi? Do you want to?
Justin, do it.
Okay, I'll do it. So, Heidi, when did you move out to LA?
I think it was like 2004 or 5.
Okay, so 2004 or 5, and Heidi's doing hair, and then around late 2008, early 2009 is when you decided to do Groundlings.
Yeah.
Right? Start to take classes, right? So Heidi starts to do the Groundlings, and if people don't understand, at that time, this is Groundlings pre-Bridesmaids. So, this is before Kristen Wiig really blew up, and Heidi gets into the first few classes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then Bridesmaids happens, and there's just a huge waiting list to go and take the next class. And so in LA, and again, correct me if I'm not characterizing these things correctly, but in LA, there's basically 2 big comedy schools. There's the Groundlings, and then there's UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. And in between the times when Heidi's taking the groundlings classes, you can pop in and do classes at UCB. And that is where the two of you met.
Yep.
Mhm,
It was It was
mhm.
101, right?
Yep, UCB 101. It was like everyone at Brad and Whitney and Kirsten, just like a
And
group
Eric.
of people, and Eric, and we started a sketch group together.
Yeah. So in these classes, yeah, if you hit it off with people, maybe you have chemistry in an improv scene. I guess Melissa and I had chemistry.
Oh, we had major chemistry. Well, still do.
Then like 6 of us decided like, oh, we should keep this up. And so we would meet we formed an improv / sketch group.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would meet every week like it was our little job.
No.
Just to
We
kind of
really
like
treated it like it was our little job.
our little job. Yeah. And yeah, we were writing sketches and just
Shooting
becoming
them
friends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was
Yeah.
like, I think it was beginning of 2010 was when we started that. So it's been
Wow.
a long time, and we still meet once a week and make sketches together. She does it on the side from SNL.
I know. I'm always so bummed, Melissa, because I remember I'd known you for like only 4 months, and I was like getting married, and I remember talking to you guys in the group about like you were asking me like, oh my God, you're getting married this summer. And I remember being like, should I invite them? But I like don't know them that well yet. And then now I'm like, I wish Melissa was at my wedding.
I know, and I still resent it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
We're working it out right now on this podcast.
And you ended up working with my husband on She-Hulk last year.
Yeah, that was a very strange coincidence. And you were the one that told me I got the job accidentally. You weren't supposed to.
Yes, I did.
You broke Marvel NDAs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't listen to this, Disney. Don't listen to this, please.
Well, it was just funny because I was waiting to find out about the job, and Zeb was like the number 2 writer in the room. So he was hired earlier. And he was on the phone with the showrunner, Jessica Gao, and I guess Jessica was like talking about who the people they were going to offer it to. And Heidi texted me like, you're working on She-Hulk? And I'm like, I am. And you're like, never mind. And then you just didn't reply. And it was very,
that's smooth. That's really smooth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. You got the gig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
You probably were like, oh, I should never mind.
Mm-hmm. I didn't mind. I just went on with my day. Didn't think about it.
Yeah. Not a big deal. Not a big deal to get on a Disney Plus show. It's like you just went and had brunch, you know?
No.
Has anyone truly never minded when someone says never mind? I don't think so.
Never mind. I'm trying to think. Never mind.
You want to know. You're gonna mind.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind is an invitation
you're gonna always
to mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want to do the exact opposite. I am always minding now.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, always minding.
Always minding.
Cool t-shirt.
Another tattoo, knuckle tattoo.
Always minding.
If we had 8 fingers.
Oh,
do you have? Oh,
that's more than
it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. I just threw that out there.
Okay,
no, it doesn't.
No, the math doesn't work out.
Well, you know what math does work out is the math of. This is the dumbest transition.
Is this a segue?
Yeah.
This is a great segue. I know where she's going, and it's going to work perfectly.
It's going to be great. Okay, you ready?
Okay,
go.
Yes. You know what math does work out?
What?
3 people with 3 types of candy.
Whoa!
Wow. That's
what
so true.
Transition.
Thank you. And it even got worse because I said 3 types of candy. We all have the same candy.
Oh, we do?
You guys, yes.
Well, you sent me something. I don't know. Like, this is like a really big package.
You might have future candy in that package.
Oh, okay.
Do I have future candy in this package?
The packages you're getting of Me City Candy are just insane.
Wait. So did anybody else get loose like cereal? Did you get?
No.
You got me. Are we eating cereal today? Or...
No.
Oh wait. Is this it? Is this
That's
Skittles?
it.
The Skittles.
Yeah, okay. All
I
right.
have it ready.
And Melissa, how'd you get your Skittles? You have an interesting story.
A very interesting story where I opened this little bag, and it was weird because it was thrown in my front yard, like in a corner. So I was like, oh, there's a bag here, like a FedEx, whatever. And I opened it, and it was just a bag of Skittles with no note or explanation. And I was just like, is this a prank? Is someone pranking me right now? I didn't mind it. And I almost opened them immediately, which shows how trusting I am of people, strangers sending me candy. But then the next day I got the information
that it was me. Well, also, if you almost just opened them upon receiving them, then you've already answered my first question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Skittles?
I love Skittles. Who doesn't like Skittles? I feel like Skittles are a universal candy, in my opinion.
Yes. Here's my little thought about Skittles.
Okay.
I think they're a gold standard, like concession candy. Mm-hmm. What I want to say about them, though, is I feel like they're the popular girl. Like, they're always going to be popular.
Yeah.
They might not be the most interesting or, right?
Yeah, it's a safe bet candy. Like, if you're getting it for a group, people are going to be happy you got Skittles. Whereas if you went for like a Milk Dud or Junior Mint, it might not be a hit with the crowd.
Yes. It could cause some waves. And then Justin has just a package of loose cereal and milk.
Yeah. What kind of cereal is this? What is this?
I didn't send you that, so I don't know.
Who sent me this cereal? Like the Skittles was in there.
Heidi, what was
this milk any good? It tastes good.
Heidi, Justin, what were your like go-to candies at concession? Maybe you should be asking me these questions, but I'm curious.
Well, you're gonna get the third degree as well.
Right.
What about the Skittles and the cereal?
You could try that.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I think that I think
those textures are wrong.
I think Fruity Pebbles, maybe.
Yeah,
well, that's how I enjoyed eating mine.
Chewy,
so like some cereal, some milk, and some Skittles.
Wow.
I can't get down with that. I think the textures are incorrect.
I don't like that either. Melissa,
you don't like it either.
It doesn't work.
No.
I bet it
doesn't work at all. No.
We'd warned you.
I'm going to put that to the side.
My go-tos, Melissa, are like, I mean, I really like a peanut M&M if I'm going to be real serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's classic. Recently, Justin and I had Raisinets on the show. And
wow.
I was like really reminded those are really good.
Are they good? I would never think to get a Raisinette today.
That's a solid choice. Raisinette's a solid choice.
Guess what? I'm going to send you Raisinets for free for being on the show.
Wow.
Because I think you'll be shocked. Justin and I both were like, the chocolate is definitely cheap, but it's better than the chocolate in Bunch of Crunch. And the raisin elevates the chocolate.
Interesting. And is the right proportion, I don't remember, of like chocolate to raisin?
Yes, it really is.
Yeah, because you know what happens? The chocolate, the raisin is wrinkled. So the chocolate just kind of gets in there.
Oh, yeah, that's smart. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Right.
Like,
and it's sort of just kind of like, it just creates this like nice, solid, chocolatey, dried prune, combo. It's really good.
Melissa, from best to worst, will you rank the 5 colors of Skittles?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So My tastes have changed over time, I will say. I think it goes red, of course, first.
Yeah.
Then green. I think green is number 2.
And
then
was that
purple.
okay?
No, green was like toward last before, like as a kid. I think because I thought it was like green is for boys, you know? But lately I feel like it's not even, I think it's green apple, but it tastes, I don't know, there's something about it that's very good. But I think it goes red, green, purple, orange, yellow.
Red, green, purple, orange, yellow. Okay, I just have to ask you something shocking.
Wow.
Do you think the green that you had as a kid and that you have now have been the same all along?
Maybe not.
Because Melissa,
different. I feel like it used to be lime.
No.
It used to be lime.
Yeah.
That's
Is that
what
true?
happened.
For real?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And you just thought that your taste grew and matured as an adult, but really the Skittle just decided to bail on the lime.
Yeah, because the lime was bad. Okay, now I feel better about my memory of the green. Okay. And yellow is just, it's a far fifth for me.
Yellow's grown on me over the years. I'm not saying it's number 1, but it's up. I like it now.
What's pink?
There is no pink.
There's a pink
red.
on the, wait.
Red is strawberry,
like
apparently.
oh, you know what? It's probably orange. It's probably orange.
Yeah.
I've got some weird lighting in my office.
You've got a whole different cereal, Skittle, milk setup over there. So yours,
I will say, it got better at the end.
Yours probably
But
got dyed.
I
pink.
still don't recommend it.
Do you find that when you're eating Skittles, you have to like look at which one and like you choose it? I like having Skittles. Maybe that's why I don't like it as a movie theater snack. I like looking at them on like a little plate or something. I mean, like, I want to have the orange. I'm going to enjoy the orange.
This is a great point, okay? And why it is confusing as a movie candy is because you just grabbing a handful of these things. What are you, a fucking animal?
Yeah.
You know, like the fruit salad, it's like you want a couple purples together. You want a couple greens. You want those flavor profiles to be distinct.
Yeah.
You don't want this like this kind of amalgamation of fruit flavor. It doesn't really work. I don't think Skittles really work as like just throwing them in and, chewing them up.
I don't think so either.
You gotta pick them out.
I think a red and purple, perfect combo.
You can do
orange,
you can like.
I don't know about that.
Ooh, yeah.
No, you're tempting fate.
There's a lot of bad combos and a lot of good combos. Is what I have to say about that.
You know what also has a lot of bad combos and a lot of good combos?
Ooh, segue?
What?
It's a segue. Movies and music.
It sucked. But it was better than my Skittle one.
But no, that's true. There are some movies that have some really horrible soundtracks. You know what we're not going to talk about today? Movies with horrible soundtracks.
No.
You know what we are going to talk about today? Movies with amazing soundtracks.
Yeah. And that gift was given to us by Melissa because her Where We Were When picks just happened to have amazing soundtracks. So
the best.
We're just letting you guys know. We're going to be talking about some movies, setting the scene, who Melissa was then, all that stuff. But guess what? We're going to be talking about music too. So, Melissa, what is your first Where We Were When pick?
My first Where We Were When pick is Romeo and Juliet. But to be clear, it's Romeo plus Juliet, the 1996 version with Leo and Claire Danes.
Now, I knew that you were picking this, and I kind of dressed like Leonardo DiCaprio for you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. And your hair, you have kind of a Leo haircut.
Yeah.
It's giving me a lot of feelings, Heidi.
Okay, cool. Which was so, we're going to get into that. A lot of feelings. I feel you on that with Romeo and Juliet.
Feelings.
Romeo plus Juliet. There are so many feelings. So, okay. How old were you when Romeo and Juliet came out?
I was 12.
Okay. And give us just a taste of what a 12-year-old Melissa Hunter was like. Where was she living? What was she into? What did her room look like? Give it to me.
Okay. A 12-year-old Melissa was she was going to a small private school in Pacific Palisades, California, an Episcopalian private school.
Well, by the way, two Episcopalian private school kids right here.
Yeah.
We had to leave.
Well, we had to leave ours because our parents could no longer afford it, but we were there for a few years.
Yeah, I went.
I got out. I was able to graduate, but they had to pull Heidi.
I graduated, and then all my friends went to Episcopalian high school, and I went to public school for similar reasons. Gotcha. But yeah, there were only 35 kids in my class, so it was very, here's the thing. It was like you could rank everyone in popularity, like 1 through 35. And I wasn't 35, but I was like low 20s, or late 20s. Like no one cared about me in any way. And I cared about a lot of things. I had a lot of feelings. I think I was very into old movie musicals and I was looking at an old birthday list, and it was like a lot of palm reading and like witchcraft spell books. Yeah. Trying to discover that stuff. Like, it's just like all the things that you grab onto. Like, is this my personality? Is this my personality? But what I was not very good at was like following popular trends. I wasn't like, I feel like I never knew popular music, which is why we can get to movie soundtracks soon, because that was like my intro into, I could talk about music that way. What was my room like? I read a lot of like Agatha Christie books. Ooh, like a lot of murder mystery girl, and like Jane Austen books. Because I thought that was interesting, I think it was because of Clueless that I read Emma, and then I read like Pride and Prejudice and all of that. And I had a very bad haircut when in 6th grade.
What was it? Short?
It was too short. It was just like like just at the above the chin. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would look chic. I think I'd seen Sabrina, the Audrey Hepburn movie, and how she like cut her hair. And I wanted to and there was a moment that I really wanted to cut it like that short, like a pixie cut. And my mom talked me out of it. But then I did cut it too short. And I felt like I just it did not suit me.
I mean, so funny that you're saying that you were in the low 20s out of 35, and then you describe all of that and you sound like the coolest girl in the world. Like,
well, I think looking back, I have a lot of love and affection for 12-year-old Melissa, and I think she was very cool, but no one else seemed to think that.
Gotcha. So, when you saw Romeo and Juliet, where did you see it?
I can tell you, I saw it at the AMC at 3rd Street Promenade, where I went in Santa Monica, where I went to see all the movies that I saw. Like every weekend I saw a movie there, pretty much.
I've been to that AMC. Have you, Justin?
I have been to that AMC. That is the one that has a couple theaters up top and then some theaters down below, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
And I think it was right at the time. It might have been just before, but it was right at the moment where did you guys have this like freeing moment where you got to be dropped off at the movie theater and just go on your own with your girlfriends or a friend or whatever? And that was just the coolest feeling in the world of like true independence.
Mm-hmm. Yes, freedom. Mm-hmm. Total freedom. I remember one of the first times that ever happened to me, my friends were like, my parents are going to drop us off at the mall. We're going to go to the movies, but we're actually going to meet boys. So dress accordingly. And I got dropped off in a pair of wide leg jeans, a white turtleneck, an Anthony Hardaway Orlando Magic jersey, and Airwalk skater shoes and dog tags. And I remember the cool girls I was with being like, we said we're meeting boys. And I was like, yeah.
I think you look really cool.
It's like, this is what boys like. Do you not understand?
They wear all of this stuff.
Dudes love
They're gonna
dog
love
tags,
it.
especially girls in dog tags.
We do. We love them.
Yeah. Now, were you with anyone when you saw Romeo and Juliet? Who was the crew?
This is part of why it was a very significant movie for me. I saw it with a boy in my class.
Ooh.
I'll call him Chris because I don't know, changing names. It doesn't need to be his story, you know. So Chris was everyone's boyfriend for like a week at school. He was that boy, and he was friends with only girls. And so like every week he would have a new girlfriend. And Chris asked me one day after school, I'll never forget it. We were both waiting for our moms, and he was like, do you want to go see Romeo and Juliet with me? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And then he left. And I think if I didn't jump up and down right there, I jumped up and down in my heart because I was so it was right at the beginning of me being fully boy crazy. And what I didn't know at the time was that Chris was a closeted gay guy. He's now gay and married and out. I think he came out in high school. But I didn't know that. And so I think my mom did know that, or she could tell, because he was everyone's boyfriend because I think he was afraid of the boys. But yeah, so his dad dropped us off and we saw Romeo and Juliet, and it was such a that movie, when I rewatched the trailer, I've seen that movie so many times, but it fully imprinted on me, that movie. Do you have those movies that feel like they really just are imprinted in your memory in a way that's I remember this shot, I remember the way, I almost could edit it in my brain, you know?
Totally.
And Leo in that movie was fully my sexual awakening. I was like, what are these feelings? I just want to be on the other side of the aquarium with him. I want to be wearing that outfit. There's a scene where they're both under the sheets, looking at each other and laughing. And I'm like, sign me up for whatever that is. I don't know what they're doing. I did not know anything about sex or what's involved in it, but I just wanted all of it.
I know. I almost would want to, because you even talking about the shots with the aquarium and under those sheets, it was all so innocent, but obviously we were having such feelings at 12 and 13. I would love to talk to a woman who was 35 at that time and just know if she was also oh yeah, girl, I would, or she was just that's baby shit, or
yeah, or even 22. It feels like it was designed for pubescent teenagers or prepubescent. Because I just remember. So the rest of the movie watching experience, I remember by the end of it, we were both fully crying and probably both in love with Leo. You know. I remember I was so nervous going into that, what I assumed was my first date and would be my first kiss. And I was so excited about it. And then by the end, I didn't care about Chris. I just all I cared about was Leo, and was just like, I feel like if the movie wasn't as good, I wouldn't have been like just openly weeping in front of him, and just, it was so, that movie just like meant more to me than any boy ever could at the time.
So there was, let me just get it clear. There was no kiss from Chris
No
at the end?
kiss.
Okay.
No kiss.
No kiss.
There was no
No.
kiss. We just became good buds. I don't think it was like the 90s. I feel like I was 12. I didn't have any gaydar, but I feel like there was a sense of like, we're friends. And we saw ended up seeing a lot of movies together. And he also wasn't even the person I had a crush on. I just so desperately wanted a boyfriend. Do you remember that time in your life where you're like, I don't know what it means. I don't want any physical contact necessarily. I just want to have a boyfriend.
It's almost just like the word boyfriend. I think that was the most important part. It's just boyfriend. I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
I have a boyfriend.
Well, it sounds like Chris was the perfect boyfriend then.
I know. I do kind of wish he had asked me to be his girlfriend so that we could just pretend together. Like, I feel like he was, still figuring out his sexuality, but I think I also wasn't ready for anything besides the name and maybe holding hands. But that probably would have even made me nervous. We could have just been platonic boyfriend, girlfriend.
Now, Justin, I feel like you probably have a totally possible different take on Romeo and Juliet.
Well, I went with my friend Chris too. It's not his name. No, this was, listen, this is 96, right? So this is Baz Luhrmann before Moulin Rouge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was a really really cool movie. I don't think I saw this with anybody because I used to see a lot of these movies because nobody really wanted to go see them. Because it's 96, so I'm 20, right? So this is like right in the middle of like college. And I don't think anybody wanted to go see this. So I either saw it back home or I saw it in Columbia, Missouri. And it was really, really amazing. Like, it was really, really cool. And Luhrmann is really, he has a lot of tricks, right? So I was really enamored with all of the things that he was doing. And you kind of, it's like it's like the broccoli with cheese, right? Because I'm not really a Shakespeare fan, right? But obviously I'm getting like the Shakespeare along with all of the visuals. So I think it probably was a lot of people's like first like exposure to Shakespeare in many ways, right? Especially the masses. And then, like, of course, people are discovering this on video because the next year Leo goes on, he does Titanic. It's the biggest movie of all time. It was in the theaters for a year and a half. And they're like, who is this Leonardo DiCaprio guy? Oh yeah, he just did Romeo and Juliet last year, right? So that was kind of like my vibe at the time, right? It's like, okay, like this kid's really talented, he's really smart. Claire Danes. I never really had a crush on Claire Danes because I just thought she was a little bit meek, and I just was, but I thought she was great, and then, but yeah, I really loved Boz. He was really the reason why I was coming to that movie because like he had done Strictly Ballroom, right? And I knew about that movie.
Oh, I loved that movie.
Obviously, yeah, and the trailers for Romeo and Juliet were amazing. It was just like, whoa, what is this going to be? And then the music too. I mean, like, you're talking about Garbage, you're talking about Everclear, you're talking about the Cardigans, Radiohead. They even have Rick Astley in there too. Never Gonna Give You Up. Before there was Rick rolling, right? So It was, man. I mean, Boz was able to like really join those two things, the style and the music, and just deliver something that stands the test of time, without a doubt.
Did you go get the soundtrack right after you saw it, Melissa?
Oh, oh yeah.
Or
Well, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
you did.
Yes, yes. Now, Melissa.
Yeah, I did immediately. I feel like I became just obsessed with anything correlated with the movie. Like I watched Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet right after too, because I was like, this is then I'm cultured. I've seen
very different.
And to what you're saying, Justin, like the one other detail about 12-year-old Melissa is I was getting really into Shakespeare at the time. That was like, yeah, I was like an early theater kid and I was like, this is going to be
theater kid, Wiccan.
I know. It's really all just.
Ooh, iambic pentameter. Yes, that is the best way to write things.
Yeah, just an insufferable 11-year-old, you know? But yeah. And then I immediately bought the soundtrack and just played it all the time, like all the time. I think there were, soundtrack. I think because I loved movies so much in that time frame, like starting maybe in 4th grade through high school, I would go to the movies like every weekend. And I feel like buying these soundtracks was my real like collection as a kid, or a way to even, I mean, what's cool about it, I think, when you're that age is you are getting the tastes of these cool filmmakers. So you're listening to music that you wouldn't necessarily otherwise. It isn't always, some of it is current, but some of it is, cool classics. And I bought so many soundtracks. Did you, Heidi, were you into soundtracks?
I was super into soundtracks, and every so often doing this show, I love to think about nostalgia, and when I'm listening to other people talk about their experiences, something will come back to me that like was kind of routine in my life back then. And I just remembered that like, yeah, there were some times when you would go to the mall and you would go see a movie, and then the soundtrack was so good that then you could immediately go to Suncoast and get the soundtrack. And I'm just like, just remembering doing that when you were just like, I have to get it. I have to get it immediately. Maybe luckily you'd have a 20 from your parents and you could go get it. Justin did that. You just said, oh, you just seemed excited.
Yes. Okay. Because this was the soundtrack that had the everybody's free to wear sunscreen commencement speech, like song where the guy is, that's okay. And everybody's that was huge free on the radio.
That song?
Well, it was the guy who was basically like, saying, just these like life lessons. And it was like a 7-minute long song. You remember that? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 99, wear sunscreen.
And it was just this like, it was so different from anything. And it was actually, I think, it was written by Baz Luhrmann too. So that was just one of those really like unique music / movie / like, I don't know what you would even call it. It's like self-help. It occupied a very unique space at that time. And if you just go and listen to that song if you're listening to this, because you'll be like, oh yes, that's the one. Right? It's like that's that one where it's like this sounds like this old guy giving you life advice, and there's this soundtrack underneath it, that then swells, and then it kind of comes back, and he just keeps on talking about like these interesting things that you should be doing, and how to like live your life and get the most happiness out of your life. So I forgot that was part of it, but that was like a big deal. Like that was like one of those like big hits, big singles of that.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack. It's a movie that still sticks with me today. Like style wise, I'll see something that, I mean, I think I started like being in love with Leonardo DiCaprio, and now maybe I just want to be him, or like
That's
versions
a good
of
progression, I think.
him. Um, and last year on the show, Harry Styles hosted, and I remember talking to his creative director after the show, and I was just like, okay, I was like, so what exactly is your role? Are you creating everything, like his musical performances tonight? Like, were you picking out his wardrobe and like what the set would look like and all this stuff? And she's like, well, of course, you know, he has like a wardrobe department and all this, and it's a bunch of creatives, and we're all coming together to do that. But she was like, I am like laying out kind of the overall vision. And she said, what's so cool about Harry's fans, because I think she was saying that she had worked with like indie bands before that like take themselves really seriously. And she was like, a lot of his fans are like young girls. And she said, I just like to think about what kind of not just turned me on as a young girl, but what just excited me as a young girl. And she was like, and it was Leonardo DiCaprio in Romeo and Juliet. And so sometimes in his music videos or the way he dresses, I just think about like, what would I want Leonardo DiCaprio from Romeo and Juliet to do to me or look like? And she was like, and that's what I tell Harry to do. And I was like, you are the most smart woman in the world. That is so smart. And she was like, and those girls are kind of too young to like, you know, if they haven't really sought out Romeo and Juliet to like know about it. So like, I feel like Harry Styles is the new Leo as Romeo or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is interesting that, you know, excitement at that age is so complicated because it isn't just romantic. It's like you are, as we were talking about before, like figuring out who you are and what your personality is and how to express yourself through your haircut or through your wardrobe. And, you know, that is so interesting that it is that kind of intersection of both like your own identifying what excites you to express yourself and what excites you because you're attracted to it, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Bravo to Harry Styles' team and Baz Luhrmann.
I was gonna say, we better give some props to Baz Luhrmann.
Well, you know what, Justin? You've said Baz Luhrmann 500 times.
Baz by Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann.
Already.
Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann. This woman owes her career to Baz Luhrmann. Let's just be frank.
Now,
it is very smart. It is very smart. And I just wanted one more thing.
About Baz Luhrmann.
No, about this film though. Like, I think it just occupies this like very, very special space. And it does seem like there are these, it occupies this very special space specifically for young women at the time. But apparently it's like, there's just something that it tapped into. There are movies that like are able to tap into something, you know, at a certain point in time. And they keep repeating the echoes, obviously, right? You know, like they just keep echoing into the future, which is, you know, what you're talking about with Harry Styles, creative director, right? Like it's, you know, it's that powerful, right? And it's one of the reasons why, you know, it's like you remember it so fondly.
Yeah. And I think to that end, it feels like the kind of movie that for me, and it seems like Heidi and I are pretty much the same age, like we were at the exact right age for that movie. Like I'm sure people older appreciated it too, but there is something special about being at the exact right age for a movie. And, you know, I think about, I don't know. Yeah. Baz Luhrmann had some kind of magic that was designed for like teenagers that were just discovering hormones. And I think about that change that they do in the movie of like, where she wakes up right after he takes the poison you know, and because in the play, he dies and then she wakes up, and they have that one moment like immediately after, and it's like I would watch that movie again and again, and it was that feeling of like you watch it hoping for a different result. That I don't know if you ever did that as a teenager, of like, no, maybe this time he won't take the poison, she'll wake up 5 seconds earlier. Yeah, there's something about it.
Yeah, there's still movies like that. I guess that means that you hold them in such a high regard if you still think that maybe there's hope that the ending's different, even after you've seen it. But I still do that. I can't even think of another example, but.
Well, you like the characters so much. Well, I can think of another example.
What?
The next film.
Oh.
The titular film. Melissa?
Donnie Darko.
Darko.
I guess I picked kind of emo movies of a certain era.
I want to say really quickly.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Jake Gyllenhaal. Yin and yang.
Yep.
The yin and yang of like the late 90s or the 90s, early 2000s, you know, female dynamic, right? You know, it's like I think that he tapped into that other portion, you know, of that era. So we'll get into that in a second, but I just like that just occurred to me. Sorry, I didn't want that to flitter away. But Donnie Darko.
Yeah. So how old were you when Donnie Darko came out?
Well, it came out, looked it up. It came out in 2001, but I didn't see it till like 2004, probably.
Okay.
I think it kind of missed me somehow when I was, because 2001, I was like 16, 17. But I saw it, I feel like it is the most, like the most typical movie to see in like a college, like in college on DVD. And that's what I did. I feel like 2004, 2005, 2000, like when I was in college, it was the DVD, you know, like the ultimate DVD era, and everyone had their DVDs that also expressed their personality. And you had them showcased in your living room as if like, this is who I am. These are my interests. And I feel like every boy had Donnie Darko.
Yes.
Do you want me to tell you the story of what happened? Or sorry, you go ahead. You ask the questions. You're the host.
Yeah.
Of course. I do want to say really quick, because I think that you guys will think this is really cute.
Great.
When you just said that thing about how, yes, everyone would have their DVD collection and then you would know if they were a cool person or not. So I met this couple one time where the wife was American, her husband was foreign, and they moved in together. She loved DVDs. She had a huge DVD collection, CDs as well. And he was just always like, this takes up like so much room in the living room, you know? And she was like, well, yeah, babe, but this is like what shows people my personality when they come over. And he goes, well, then why don't we just make one list that says these are the movies Carla likes and hang it on the wall? And I was just like, oh, the cutest man in the world.
That's very cute.
I kind of want to do that. Make it just a poster.
Well, I feel like I love that idea. Make it as a poster, like ask some graphic designer to make it for you. And it's like, these are the movies Heidi likes, and just have it framed. I would love that. Okay. Well,
it's so sweet.
So I think one of your birthdays.
Well, I think, Melissa, if you're going to do that though, a poster and handouts, you know, because you have to you want to take a poster, but then you have to have handouts as well. You know, you have to have something to take it with you, right? You know, to just remember it.
Yeah, it's like a business card or a resume.
Right. Because you don't want to forget it.
What if, Heidi, with your headshot, you had like a headshot and resume, and on the back was just a list of movies, but it was just the movies you like. as opposed to movies that you've been in. And people are like, wow, Heidi has been in a lot of classics.
I think that's a great idea. Anything that lets me stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
Something a little different.
You got to have an edge.
So I wanted you guys to know that heartwarming story. But what I want to know more is, okay, Melissa, were you in your own dorm room or were you in some guy's dorm room watching Donnie Darko? Where were you?
Well, I was in a frat house room. It was very, because I was going through, I feel like there were so many different times watching movies in college where you feel a little bit uncomfortable, like the vibe is weird. And this was one where the vibe was weird, but then immediately got better. So I went with my friend Sarah, and she like had some friends at this frat. It was in Chicago at Northwestern. It's very cold out. I remember that. And because it's cold most of the time in Chicago. And she's like, oh, come, like she was kind of dating this guy, I think. And she's like, come, we're going to watch a movie. And I'm like, okay. And so we go and we smoke. It's like this guy and like 4 of his friends. And we're all in this like big kind of gross room in a frat with a couch and stuff. And we smoke out of a bong. And I get so
Bold
high.
move.
Like I get so high. I had smoked, but I wasn't like a cool, like I was pretending to be cooler than I was. I'm like, oh yeah, I could take a huge rip off a bong.
You weren't a bong smoker at that
I wasn't a bong smoker. It was one of those like you smoke it and you start coughing and everyone's like, oh shit, you're gonna get fucked up. And I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna get fucked up. And then they decided to turn on Donnie Darko, and I had never seen it, and neither had Sarah, and they were like, what? You've never seen Donnie Darko? So we turned it on. And as soon as we turned it on, I was like, I am too high to be around anything or anyone. And I didn't know enough about Donnie Darko to realize that it's also like a very tough movie to watch when you're very stoned and 19. But
wow.
Thank God for Jake Gyllenhaal being so goddamn cute and me being like in love with him in that movie. But what happened was they like 20 or 30 minutes into this movie, I'm like, they were all like talking and kind of partying and not really paying attention. And I was like, I just need to focus on the movie and not say anything, and everything's going to be okay. And then they said that they wanted to go downstairs. They were like bored of it and to play flip cup or beer pong or something. And I grabbed Sarah and I was like, I can't do that. And she was like, we're just going to keep watching the movie. And we stayed up there and like, I think we locked the door and just watched the rest of the movie while those boys played flip cup downstairs. And I remember then we snuck out because we were still too stoned at the end of the movie, and just like walked home in the cold and talked about how fucked up the movie was. And it was a really good memory.
Oh, I like that. You saw Donnie Darko instead of playing beer pong.
Yeah, that was definitely my vibe in college.
You made the right call.
I think I did. I think that would have been awful.
I think, Justin, we saw Donnie Darko together, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. We saw it in like 2001.
Yeah, we saw it when it came out for sure.
Yeah, so we saw it in 2001, and this was a couple years after I graduated college. And it was definitely sort of like in my, what do I want to do with my life? Do I want to go to like grad school for filmmaking? Like what's going on? And so like there was a lot of like movie going at the time, because that was sort of like my, I guess grad school, right? Instead of going to grad school. So there was a phenomenal theater, fine arts theater in Kansas City at the time. And this movie really, it got dumped because it had two things working against it. The first was it had like, some school violence things working against it. And in
Mhm.
99, Columbine had happened. And then it had a plane crash in it. And what
Oh,
happened in 2001?
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, a month earlier, right? So it
Wow.
just got buried. The fact that we saw it in a theater, I think, is almost kind of a miracle because, like,
Mhm.
it was the Fine Arts Theater is it's not, obviously, it's not an AMC, right? So, like, I think it got released in like under 100 theaters, like 50 theaters or something like that. And like it, had a really hard road to actually get to that. I think Christopher Nolan was behind it actually getting a release in theaters too. Because this was Richard Kelly, first movie that he ever directed. And yeah, it was just really one of those, like, the first time watching that movie, I was like, this is a perfect movie
Yeah.
just for what it was trying to do. It just went and it told a story. It didn't try to explain too much.
Mhm.
And the soundtrack and all the music
Ugh,
cues,
so good.
when it's like
Perfect.
that first shot where it's like going down the road, with that dun 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 dun,
Mhm.
this really
Yeah.
just beautiful, just the original score. And the camera stops and he pops up into frame,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
it just resolves, and then it's Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen. And I just like,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just the first 3 minutes of that film, I was like, I am fucking in.
Mhm.
Like, I am in it. This is amazing. I've never seen, like, I just feel like this is going to be a special movie. And it was. It really was.
Isn't there the
And
moment too where they are like getting the back of the bus opens, they're getting off the bus and that Head Over Heels by Tears for Fears?
yes.
Dun, dun, dun,
Mhm.
another,
And it's
yeah.
that time when
Mm.
they were doing the like speed up, slow down one shot. So that most of that sequence is one long shot where they're speeding up and slowing down, speeding up and slowing down.
Mhm.
Um, and and they just play that entire song,
Yeah. Into
pretty
the
much.
school.
And
And
they
then there's
show,
oh, go ahead.
no, please, please.
Well, then I just have to say there's also the moment I think where he's walking down the stairs with I can't think of the actress's name, but his like
Jenna
girlfriend in the
Maloney.
movie. Yeah, Jenna Maloney
Mhm.
and Under the Milky Way by Church is
Oh,
playing.
Yes.
mhm. And there's that Joy
Yeah.
Division song in it too, right? What's it called? I
Um
forget. Oh, Love Will Tear Us Apart.
yes. Yep. That's in it.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
It feels like every song you wanted to lose your virginity to was in that
Mhm.
movie, right?
Well, and
Like
also you didn't know you suddenly decided when you saw that, like, oh, that I want that song. I call
that's the
that
one.
song.
Oh wait, that's
Mhm.
Yeah.
the one. Oh
Mhm.
wait,
Yeah.
that's the
That's
one,
one.
right?
Yes.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
just, and then the song at the very end, where when you were talking about Head Over Heels, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
That was such a sequence because it introduced all these characters and you almost knew exactly who these characters were just from this one sequence,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So you saw them interacting with each other and you got this like, okay, yeah, this is who this person is going to be. And basically they were that person throughout the rest of the movie. And then Mad World,
Ugh.
went over the like a very those same characters, right? In most cases, and just kind of showed what the events of Donnie Darko's existence and this kind of weird like dimensional wormhole thing that was happening, what it did to them, and then remembering something that had just happened but maybe didn't happen, right? And
Mhm.
I don't know, it just all fucking made sense. And like the music was such a perfect part of that. The way that Richard Kelly used music in that movie, it just wouldn't be the same movie.
No.
And it
Yeah.
wouldn't make as much sense. It wouldn't make as much emotional sense. That's the thing too. It's like for some reason, I think the reason why it went on to become a cult hit is it just made so much emotional sense.
Mhm.
The alienation of the teenage life, feeling it, not only invincible, but also maybe it's just like not feeling a part of something. There's just so many amazing themes. And then, somebody like, Drew Barrymore being that teacher that really cares, but she
Mhm.
can't, but then she's forced to leave, because
Yeah.
like she's just not part of the system, and you're just not feeling a part of the system, like you feeling like an outsider, right? It was really, it tapped into that. It tapped into that
I
emotion.
forgot
So it really,
that she was in it, and that was really cool too. When you would see like, that was cool during that time when you would see like a like big actress in an indie
Yeah.
film, like that they had given it, that meant they gave it their stamp of approval, or you're like, oh, this
Mhm.
like popular actress, she's like into indie stuff. It's like, of course she is and was so cool, but um,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and her company produced it too, Flower Films. So I feel like she was kind of getting into that side of things as well. But I mean, between that and Scream, like her doing these kind of smaller parts where she takes the back seat,
so
that's pretty
smart.
cool. Yeah.
I mean, did you know that she was offered the Nev Campbell part in
Yes.
Scream, and then she was like, nope, I want
Yeah, she was like, wouldn't it be funny if I got killed in
Casey.
the first scene? Yeah, pretty cool.
Smart lady that
we
you
talk about-
worked with.
can we talk
What?
about Drew for a second?
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about Drew for a second? Because this
Always.
is all about like past connections,
Mhm.
and now you two are peers, right? But Melissa, you worked with Drew on Santa Clarita Diet,
Mhm. I did.
and she made one of your favorite films too. She produced it. She made sure like it came into being.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, she was such a weird person to work with because, you know, there were so many major movie moments for like The Wedding Singer, I think is my favorite romantic comedy. And Scream is my favorite horror movie. And Donnie Darko, made such an impression on me at this very impressionable age. And so it was like when I worked with her, she's one of those celebrities that like I don't have a memory of not knowing who Drew Barrymore
Right.
was,
Yeah.
and that's such a weird kind of person to work with because she's just like this emblem and this person that seems so different, and then she's just like a real sweetie. And you've been on her show twice, right, Heidi?
Yeah. I felt the same way. Like just this, it was really cute when they did actually the pre-interview when I was going to be on her show. One of the first things they asked, and I bet they ask everyone this who's going to be on her show because she's been such an icon for so long. They're like, "Do you have any like fun Drew stories?" And I was kind of like being around her because I don't know her. And then they were like, "No. Like, did you ever dress up as her, like for Halloween as one of her characters? Like, were you?" And I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
I said I never dressed up as her for Halloween, but I do know that she just had her birthday, February 22nd, right?" And this was like early March. And they're like, "Yeah, how do you know that?" And I was like, "Because my best friend growing up, her birthday was February 22nd. And I remember looking up to see if she had anyone like good celebrities on her birthday. And I was like, damn it, she got Drew Barrymore. That's the best one." And it's one of those birthdays, Drew Barrymore, February 22nd, and Leonardo DiCaprio, November 11th, that I've never forgotten my whole life because I was just like, if you have that birthday and you line up with that celebrity, you are cool. So that's all to say, yeah, it was just cute that they asked that in the pre-interview. And then, yeah, I mean, it's weird to say that like has always been this like bubbly, happy, free presence when you've seen her your whole life in movies, in interviews, all this stuff. And then it's like, that really does that essence lives up to the actual essence. Like she was a delight. And yeah, I walked in and, she was like, she just made such a big deal of me being there and like so welcoming. And her whole crew obviously is like so kind. And so I wonder if you felt that way on Santa Clarita.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like sweet.
I mean,
like her.
She's someone that I like to tell people that she's like exactly who you think she is, because it's so many. I feel like people are so afraid of like of celebrities like Drew being like, oh, she's actually a sociopath who isn't like that at all. It's like, no, she truly is. She wears her heart in her sleeve. She's so effusive. Like, and I went and I love her producers and people that I worked with too. And when I worked on her pilot for the talk show, that Heidi, and I'm not someone who writes for like talk shows, but her producer called me to ask because Drew had wanted me to work on it. And I was like, I will do anything for Drew Barrymore. Are you kidding me? Like and so I got on a plane and went there, and it was so nice because it felt like, on set and stuff, you just have so much more limited interaction. And with that, it was such her like baby. And I like went over to her house and met her cats, which are honestly two of the best cats I've ever met in my life. Truly, I was obsessed with them. And
you have a cat, so that's saying
I have a cat. Yeah. I mean, there's Tweaky is, hard to beat too. But
Justin, but I have to say this.
And
really
Marshall
quick.
and Cubby.
Justin, yes, they're all three are amazing. But Justin, our mom gave Melissa her cat.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not only
when was this?
Not only gave me the cat, she basically like didn't give me a choice. I mean, I'm so happy.
Right.
It's been like 5.5 years. This was like, I had been wanting to adopt a kitten and had been thinking about it for a while. And Ernie had posted on Facebook or something that she had found these two kittens. I forget what happened. Like they were gray. They're like pure gray. And I had a cat when I was in high school that I was obsessed with that was just named Gray Baby and would look just like it. And I think I messaged you, Heidi. I maybe texted you or texted your mom. And then she's like, oh yeah, honey, come meet him. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a little bit busy this week, but maybe I'll come over this week. And she's like, I'll come to you. And so like, I think the next day she came over with both the kittens. It was like, meet them, pick which one you want. I'm like, oh my God. And then I was like, well, I don't know. She's like, just pick one. And I'm like, this one? She's like, okay. And she started leaving. I'm like, wait, I don't have anything. And she's like, oh no, I got a litter box and food in the car. I'll be right back. She just like left litter box and food. And then I just had this cat. And then 5.5 years later, Dorian Gray and I have a happy life together.
She just airdropped a cat right into your life.
Yeah. And then another friend adopted the other one.
Oh.
Yeah.
What great story.
She knew. That's the thing. She knew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She knew. She knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Drew Barrymore, lover of cats.
Yeah. Makes her all the better of a lady.
Mm-hmm.
That she likes cats, because a lot of people diss on cats, and I don't like that. And
I don't like it either.
Make it known right here, right now. It's
Me
not
too.
right. Cats are great
just as long. Okay, because I've recently adopted a very cute little gentleman named Django, and
Cute.
I've never been a dog person, but I love this little guy. Cat people dunk on dog people big time.
I don't think so. I disagree. I
Big
think
I don't
I think
either.
dog people.
Oh, do you want a child? I've got a roommate, you have a child, I that's all I'm saying. I just want to make sure that there's a little reciprocation, because
Here's the thing.
I see a little bit of hate out there from the cat people. I know you two are not that way.
No,
But,
me and my fiance are planning on adopting a dog as soon as after the wedding. That's like our first,
Cute.
get married, get a dog. But also, Justin, I will say, in terms of the amount of hate that cats versus dogs get, cats get 10 times the amount of hate for no reason. Everyone's like, oh, cats are mean. I'm like, some dogs kill people. And I still like dogs. I'm still like, oh, look at this sweet boy. You know what? If people don't like cats, I'm like, what are you doing wrong? Maybe you just aren't trying hard enough. Dogs are easy. Dogs will love anyone,
Does that what?
No,
Right
I'm saying
there,
dogs are
right
wonderful.
there.
Dogs are wonderful because they
Dogs
give so
are
much
not
love.
that simple.
They give so much
Dogs
love
are not that
to
simple.
everybody. No, they're not. They're hard. I have so much respect for people who have dogs. It's a lot of work.
No.
We love all animals on this show, and
No, I've had cats too. And I enjoy having roommates,
Mhm.
but right now I really enjoy having a child,
Yep.
a fur baby. Yeah, because there is
But you
something
can't call it a fur
to-
baby. That's where I draw the line.
Well, I just did, and he really is. He is baby size. I mean, he's a chippin'. So he's a Chihuahua miniature pincher mix.
Oh my gosh, that sounds very cute.
Oh man, Django the Chippin' on Instagram.
Okay, that's an immediate follow.
Yeah,
it's an immediate follow because my partner Sarah, she takes some fantastic photos.
I bet.
That's some good content right there.
Yeah,
that's some good content. But he's actually been sick the past couple days.
Oh no, Django.
Yeah, so he's been a little bit like not jumping down from his little perch and meeting us at the door when we come home, so we just kind of like cradle him. It's like, it's going to be okay, hand feeding him food. Right. I mean, yeah, it's very much a parent child relationship right now.
Yeah.
So I like it, because I'm like, yeah, this feels really good. Like I'm really glad that there's this little entity, this little kind of proto person here to say hi to me every day. It's very.
I think Jeremy, my fiance, and I are getting a little dog crazy. We went on a walk. This was maybe a while ago now, maybe 6 months ago. We went on a walk with a friend, a socially distanced walk in pandemic pre-vax times. And we just kept on pointing out every dog we saw, me and Jeremy. And then by the end of the walk, our friend was like, do you two just point out dogs to each other all day? I'm like, yeah, is that not normal? He's like, no.
Yeah, who doesn't do that?
You don't point out every dog you see? Look at this sweet girl, look at this nice boy.
Yeah, I get that. I had to have a kind of a serious talk with Zeb, because every time we see a dog that's cute, and usually I'm the one who acts like you and Jeremy and Melissa, I'm the one who's like, oh my God, look at that little guy. Oh, that little guy. Oh my God. I immediately am like, can I have it? Can I have it? Can I have it? And for a long time, Zeb would always do this thing where he was like, we have 3 cats. And I finally just had to say to him, I'm like, I think when I do that, I'm reverting back to 6 years old. And I think I just need you to say yeah, yes, you can have that dog. And I know that I cannot have that dog. I know that we have 3 cats. Will you just play along for the 2 seconds that I'm 10 years old again? And so now any dog I see, he says, yeah, we can get that guy. Can we get it later today? Yeah, we can.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
very sweet.
Some nice little role play.
I like
nice
that game.
Little role play.
I like that
yeah.
game.
It's very sweet. Now, Melissa, we've come to the close to the end, the finish line of our show.
Oh my gosh.
And so, we did a lot of talking about the past. We heard about 12-year-old Melissa. We heard about college Melissa. And we want to bring it more current now. Okay.
Okay.
So what I want to know now is, what are you into now? What are you obsessed with today? Just like something that has been consuming you, that you just love, that you could talk about and tell us about. What is it?
Okay. The first thing that came to mind when you talked about it or you asked me this, was the show Stath Lets Flats. Are you familiar with the show Stath Lets Flats?
Say it one more time for me.
It's a terrible name for a perfect show. It's called Stath Lets Flats. Like, it's a British show, so like rents apartments, and his name is Stath, Stath. Stath Lets Flats. This is why it's a terrible name, because you have to say it 100 times. And when you recommend it, it's
right.
Jamie Demetrio, who was the guy. And did you watch Fleabag?
No.
Heidi.
I didn't either.
Oh my God. Everyone's gasping right now. Well, for the sane listeners in the audience, it's Jamie Demetrio is the guy with the buck teeth from Fleabag. And he also was in The Great, which is another amazing show. Did you see that show?
No, but
okay,
I
great.
know.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
Like, I feel
one
like
more,
so disconnected right
one
now.
more. Did you see question? Do you watch What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh yeah.
Like the TV
I've
show.
I saw the movie.
Have you seen the TV show? Okay.
I know that there is a TV show.
Well, his sister is Natasha Demetrio, who is in What We Do in the Shadows, and she's also in the show. But this show, just to get to it
I know
already,
who that
God, is about this guy Stath, who's British but from Cyprus, and he works for his dad's rental apartment company, and he's just like a complete loser and kind of an awful person, and in that way that like only a British comedy can do, where it's so uncomfortable how much of a loser he is and how terrible he is at his job and terrible he is at interactions, that it's just like, I mean, it's so funny. And and his sister, Natasha, who plays his sister in the show, is, I think, one of my favorite, like, comedic actors around right now. I mean, she has this, like, she wears the same outfit every time, and it's like this blue cap and this side pony that goes down to her hips, and she like wants to be a dancer, but she like gives the least amount of effort all the time. And anyway, I rewatched the second season with our friends who were staying with us, Dana and Michael, you know them, Heidi, and they were obsessed with it. And I just rewatched the second season in like 2 nights, and I'm like, this is maybe like my favorite comedy that I've seen in a very long time. And it's being adapted into an American show, but it's on HBO Max. You got Heidi. I know what you like and what you think is funny. Justin, I know if you're anything like Heidi, you both will love it. It's so stupid. It's so stupid in the best way.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
That sounds
Love it.
like exactly what I want.
Yep.
I love that. Justin, what about you? What are you into these days?
Yeah, Justin.
Well, Melissa, I'm tucking back into and trying to figure out how in the fuck that documentary Wild Wild Country on Netflix came out a couple years ago. It was about this cult that just moves into this Oregon town, takes it over, renames it, poisons the citizens. How is this not a bigger story? Like, how did we not know about this? Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
Wild Wild Country?
I was that for
I-
Halloween a couple years ago.
I've seen this before, but I just want to like put it back on the radar because it's fucking crazy. Like this cult, they just move into this town, this like very, very tiny Oregon town, move from India. Rajneeshis is what they are called. And the Bhagwam is the leader of the Rajneeshis. And they just decide to buy this plot of land. They build a town and it is like orgy city. They are dancing and fucking and just all hours of the night. And apparently they feel threatened. I think like something happened at their hotel, whether or not they staged that or not, who knows? But then they start all these like very, very like, namaste, mostly white people who are supposedly very spiritual start buying AK-47s. They have their own private army.
Well, they poisoned some salad.
They poisoned the entire town. They poisoned 3 separate restaurants.
They took over the city government. That's pretty.
They took over the city government. It's amazing. It is amazing that this even happened.
The documentary is like it's like the end of episode 4 or something, but it's when those dudes in their like red 3-piece suits are right off stage and you see them grab a couple AK-47s, and it's also the most cinematic thing I've ever seen, and it's just actual footage.
That's the other thing there's so much footage.
There's so much footage. They were recording
Rolls Royce
all the time, and they were like, "Hey, news."
Yes.
He had like 17 Rolls Royces and the Bhagwam, and like it basically like he convinced white people. I love this idea. I think that this is an amazing idea. This guy convinced these privileged white people to join his ashram and just give them all of their money.
Yeah.
And he, right in front of them, he just was like, Rolls Royce, hey, Rolls Royce, hey, Rolls Royce. And they're like, look at the Bhagwam go. You know, like, I'm so glad he's gotten his 10th Rolls Royce. It's insane.
I know people get hurt in a lot of these things. And so I don't mean to discount that, but I love a documentary about when privileged white people get scammed out of their money because they're desperate just to give it away. Like in the, in the Elizabeth Holmes scam with what's it called? But I mean, so many old rich people just were like, this is the next big thing, and she had literally no technology. And then of course the Fire Fest, and then the WeWork documentary lately. There's just a lot of great grifts that really mostly hurt rich white people, and it's kind of fun. I think the other great thing about that movie is the color scheme. Like documentary, the pinks, the reds, the purples, like I would join that cult just because I love
they had that
visuals.
Figured out.
Yeah. I might make that my wedding colors.
Yeah, you don't have to like that's what's great about joining the Rajneeshis is you just do not have to think about the color scheme anymore.
And you look great.
It's going to be
good in like
you look amazing.
Like a fuchsia,
Like a fuchsia, like a it's a scarlet. There's a lot of scarlet. But also
mixing the reds and pinks, I think that's very pretty.
Right.
Very chic.
Yeah.
Zeb always says to me whenever we watch a documentary like that, and specifically when we watch Wild Wild Country, he says, I wish I could just join a cult for a month. And I'm always like, but I feel like a month is long enough for them to get you for a year or 20 years. And he's like, I promise. He was like, I just think the month would feel good. And like, I'm just
okay. So we've talked about this, Heidi, and like, and our mother has gone to this event, and I have gone to this event. Burning Man is kind of like Cult that. It's kind of like that. Yeah. It's very like, you can like just drop in to a weird little community for about a week and a half. And if you want to like build the community ahead of time, you can like get there early, build the community with them, stay a little bit longer, tear it down, pack it up. it's got the vibe. It's got that vibe. So just think
there's
about
a lot
it
of cult
because-
adjacent communities around that are like an inch, like a whisper from a cult, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Like anything
So
goop
that's my-
wellness, I'd say is
Yes.
Yeah.
just
Oh my
a
gosh.
whisper from a cult.
That is my what am I into? Heidi, it's your turn. What are you
Heidi.
into right now?
Okay, well, I'm just going to be dead honest. So I don't know if people have been at their local coffee shop lately and they've been noticing a new drink on the menu. Okay, I feel like it's popping up everywhere. At least in Brooklyn, it's popping up everywhere. Do you guys know what a London fog is?
Yes, I
Oh,
have seen
yes.
it everywhere.
Have you tried it yet?
No, is it just a tea with milk? Tell me what it is.
Yeah,
It's much more than that.
kind of. Okay, so it's Earl Grey tea. And then yes, it's steeped, and then you can get it. I get it with oat milk.
Mhm.
And then usually they add like a little lavender to it
Mm.
and typically something to sweeten it, maybe just like a
Mhm,
tad,
a
like
hint.
just a hint of vanilla. But it is something about, which this is probably British people figured this out so long ago, but something about just the like subtleness of the tea with the milk is so pleasing. It's
Mhm.
like
did.
it's one of the most pleasing things I've ever tasted in my life. It's just like calm
Yep.
and nice. And it's and you know, because I love coffee and usually I'll get like a latte or a cappuccino, but you know, it's still kind of a harsh taste. And a
Mhm.
London fog is just like it's just nice and it's calm.
It's very, very stately. Very
Mhm.
stately.
I forget that.
Yeah.
My sister lives in London, has lived there for a long time. And whenever I go to London and they make me tea, and I'm like, this is so nice. Like when you
Yes.
have a tea in an afternoon in a big mug, and it's usually like a black tea, even with like some milk and a little bit of like honey or something. And it just is soothing, but it still picks you up. I'm a big fan.
Yes.
Well, Heidi, I
That's,
trust your coffee orders because that made me think about Phil's coffee, the mint mojito that you turned me on to, that whenever I see a Phil's, I sometimes just need to stop to get the mint mojito.
One of also the best things I've ever tasted in my life and most surprising.
I was so skeptical when you told
Right?
me about it.
I know. This is a mint mojito iced coffee. So you're taking coffee and mint. And that shouldn't work. That sounds like toothpaste and orange juice to me. I mean, there's like, but
It
it's
shouldn't.
incredible. And so I think it's just they're definitely not on the East Coast at all. I think they're still just on the West Coast. Phil's coffee. I like that we're
Phil's
also
with a
saying
Z.
that because with a Z.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I like that. I like that we have a show. We have 2 shows and a drink.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
2 shows and a drink.
2 drinks, basically.
Sounds like a nice Saturday.
2 drinks, 2 shows, 2 drinks.
2 shows, 2 drinks.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. It's a nice
Well,
way.
it's a nice way to wrap up and transition and segue into our last segment
Mhm.
of the show, which is I think one of the best. This is the part of the show where Heidi and I talk about ideas, and traditionally, I pitch Heidi an idea for a sketch, like a really funny idea.
And we had also talked about that we weren't maybe going to do that.
Right. Well, we talked about that. I don't remember agreeing to anything. So, but this time around, since you guys have a history, I think it would be interesting if Melissa, you pitched Heidi a sketch.
No.
No,
Melissa, you do not have to do this.
No, I think I want to. I think this is actually kind of great because Heidi, we've been working together in comedy for so long, and you haven't come to me with any like, what should I pitch on SNL questions, which I find a little weird.
Right.
A little weird.
Oh, I don't want to like, I know that you're like you're doing like Santa Clarita and like She-Hulk and like you were just on a movie. I like never want to like.
No, I mean, that's
like
fine. I just thought that like,
so I never
we had like a thing, but it's fine. But I have one that I've been wanting to talk to you about for a while that I actually think it's actually surprising to me that you haven't done this character. Like and I've looked around and it hasn't been done on any comedy show. So it's called, so the basic gist is like, let's just call it Farting Aunt. And it's you're at your aunt's house. It's like a cool aunt, and the niece comes over, like, and it's just like really serious conversations, like at Thanksgiving, and also and then she farts like as soon as she's about to say grace, or like the niece is like, I want to talk about boys, and it's like, oh, boys, and she
farts. Yeah. Okay.
What do you think? Do you like it?
Did you tell her to do that or what?
What are you talking to me?
Yeah. Did you tell her to pitch that or what?
No, I mean, over Twitter? No, I mean, like, we don't.
No, Justin and I don't talk.
No, we don't talk. That'd be weird.
I barely know him.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
it's just weird that the most recent sketches I've gotten was a farting mom who talks to her daughter, and when her daughter says, Justin, I like this boy.
Did you pitch something similar?
Then she
I mean, it was a little bit similar, but like,
it was the exact same thing. One's a mom and one's an are they sisters? Do you go, should I do one? Maybe I could get 80 or
you
something
did a mom?
on the show to play.
Those are totally different
she could
ideas.
Be the aunt.
Well, maybe it's like the aunt's like different.
Yeah, because an aunt is like, it's a different relationship. It's like she would be single, probably childless. Yeah. It's like darker sort of character where she's like alone and lonely and has gastrointestinal problems. Farting mom is different.
Okay, so
there's a building out like a farting family, like the like a farting universe. I think. Listen,
cool.
all it tells me, it's parallel idea generation. It means that
there's something.
Maybe I was onto something.
Yeah,
maybe there's something there. So,
and you better get on it before Kate or 80 or Cecily pitches something on the table, because it's definitely in the zeitgeist. Yeah. Obviously.
Okay, and just with your guys' like expert opinions, do you think I should pitch mom or aunt? What's your guys' kind of?
I mean, listen, I have never sold a goddamn thing, so I would go with farting aunt. Really, I mean. Because Melissa, like, I think that puts a spin on it. There's a loneliness there.
I am a professional writer, right? So you might want to trust.
Yeah, I
mean, you have great instincts.
I would trust the pro.
You have it in your blood. But
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But also, Heidi,
it's nice to hear. I don't ever actually hear that. So that's nice to
Heidi, you know what?
Finally,
we don't want to overstep. This is your job. It's your show. You pick farting aunt or farting mom. You could just give us both credit, like at the good night, to say like, thank you, Justin and Melissa. Maybe a shirt
or like a
t-shirt
t-shirt
would be good with our pictures on it.
Exactly. Yeah, she's known for that now. So yeah,
it would definitely be a shirt, because there's never been like a cast member that's gone, thank you, Justin and Melissa, or like spoken.
Well,
why aren't you just a trailblazer?
Yeah,
take a risk.
I just like the host in the musical. You know what? Actually, I feel like we should end the show, because I don't really want to talk about this anymore. So,
we struck the chord.
That's a great segue.
Yeah,
that's a great segue.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
Yeah,
thank you so much for being on our show. You were such a delight and picked such good movies that I think I also just wanted to say this. The movies you picked were like such a vibe. Like they just like, when you said like they imprint on you, like I feel that, like with the music, with the look, with just the vibe of the whole thing. It was like, I don't know. You might have been like number 24 on the like cool list, but now you're number 1.
That means a lot. Coming from
Agreed.
a woman dressed as Leonardo DiCaprio in 1996, that means so much to me. And I feel like if we were in 6th grade together, we would have been friends and seen that together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best friends.
Absolutely.
Best friends.
Well, thank you for having me. It was very fun to go down movie memory lane.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will talk to you again soon. Bye.
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 Well, we have a really special guest today who actually knows a lot about inline cinema. He's a friend of mine because he's actually a cast member on Saturday Night Live. His name is Andrew Dismukes.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me, y'all.
I realized that I said your name before I said your accomplishments.
That's okay. I lead with the name, pre-accomplishments.
Oh my God.
Oh, Heidi. Jesus Christ.
I got